I absolutely love character creation in video games. Hair options, eye color, race, class, what? The process of creating your character is a sort of an intimate moment between you and the game that you're about to play. This is where you get to lay out all of your thoughts and preferences, and in collaboration with your chosen game, you get to make that thing that you imagine in your head come to life on screen, or as close as you can possibly get it to that. From game to game, character creation is something that comes with varying degrees of significance in terms of gameplay. In some games, your choices and design will follow you around the entirety of your playthrough, while in others, it's just a bonus feature that plays little part in your experience in any given game, whether it's because you don't really get to see much of what you've created, or because there aren't many customization options to begin with. Over the years, and after playing many games that allow you to create your own character, I have realized that character creation is in itself an art. It's an important part of the experience in games that gives you this option, and it needs to be handled with care and reason by the developers. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, and I know that this isn't really an easy conversation to approach, especially because there's gonna be a ton of different opinions on this, but sometimes I just get so fed up with character creation in a particular game that I actually lose my enthusiasm for that game in the process. I get character creation fatigue. There, I said it. For me, with certain character creation systems, I actually cannot wait for the process to be over. Like, I will do a physical sigh of relief when I'm done with everything, when I've confirmed all my changes and my character's name, which in itself is a difficult and extensive process. But sometimes I just like to be done with it so I can move on with my day. Those of you that know me by now are aware that I love details. I love beautiful designs in games, customization, variety, something that lets you, the player, give a personal touch to your experience in a game. The more the better, right? Right? Well, lately I'm not so sure about that. I realized that, among other things, having an absolute free-for-all type system with seemingly infinite options in every single game is not ideal. Today I wanted to discuss what systems I enjoy or don't enjoy, and what I personally think is the best approach to making character creation an enjoyable and meaningful experience in games. But first, I would like to thank today's sponsor of this video, FlexiSpot. Editing my videos for you guys can take a really long time, and lately I've just been worried about spending so much time sitting down, which unfortunately has been the only way to properly lock into the editing process, but that was until FlexiSpot sent me their E7 standing desk. The desk is sturdy, sleek, and extremely versatile, with a maximum height of 123 centimeters to cater for people of all heights. I'm actually quite tall myself, and I found the settings to be perfect for me. You can configure it to go to the exact standing and sitting height that you need as a preset, so that you're not messing about with the buttons for too long, but then you can also just adjust it smoothly as you need as well. It is the most stable desk I have ever owned, but just to show you guys, I did a few stress tests by putting some regular household objects that would be part of your setup naturally, like a PS5, some weights, a sledgehammer, my claymores, you know, the stuff that you just have lying around, and the desk lifted it all with no problem. Didn't even move. I did of course also test it out by lying on it myself, which again, very smooth, didn't shake or move by a single millimeter. If you're looking to get one of these yourself, it does come with a 15-year warranty as well as a 30-day money-back guarantee. FlexiSpot has all sorts of options of standing desks and ergonomic chairs to suit your needs, and then for a premium option, I can also recommend the E7 Plus standing desk with the 4-leg design. Don't miss out on it, and if you do go for it, make sure to leave my channel name at the checkout and use my code YTE730 for an extra $30 off your desk. Now, speaking of chairs, they did also send me their C7 Air Pro chair. I have actually been having a bit of a nightmare run with chairs. They don't even last me a year before they start to look like this, and after about 30 minutes of sitting on it, I feel really fatigued from it. I cannot even put my feet up on it when I'm tired. There's just no space, and it's not balanced enough for that. With the C7, you get a very reliable and sturdy option with an adaptive lumbar support that you can adjust to the arch of your back as you need. It also has an adjustable seat depth as well as 5 levels of backrest height adjustment. As you can see, you can sort of bring it up or down and tilt it to how you feel most comfortable. Again, I myself am quite tall, and I found this chair to be the perfect option for putting my feet up. It comes with a pull-out footrest that you can extend out or push back as much as you need. It's great if you're watching something or if you want to pull away from your computer and just take a break. It does have a 30-day return policy, giving you a risk-free trial period, as well as a 10-year warranty. With Black Friday coming up, you will be able to get the best discounts on FlexiSpot. They actually have just launched their C7 Max model with even more advanced features, and you can use my code 24BFC7 for an additional $50 off. You can find all of FlexiSpot's products down in my description below. Again, the code for the chair is 24BFC7, and you will get to trial it for 30 days and return it if it's not what you're looking for. Thank you FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. Before we get started, hi, my name is Angelika, and I just wanted to preface this video by saying that all of the things that I'm going to say are just my personal opinion.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
I feel like that's important to mention because things like this can really get people riled up, but I don't care, this is my show. Now, first of all, why is character creation just as important as the end result that you get with said character? Well, more often than not, this is going to be your absolute first impression of a particular game. This is where the developers have the opportunity to give you a taste of what you're about to experience when you dive in. You can get a feel for a lot of things here, like the overall vibe of the universe that you're delving into, the art style, and partially even the role that you will play in this world. It provides a sneak peek of how other characters look in this world, so you're already able to get acquainted with the faces before you even properly step out to meet the people behind them. The character creation screens are typically made up of several components that allow you to modify your character in all of the possible ways that a game offers. And for one of the most important elements of character creation, I want to focus in on these components and discuss them in terms of UI. The user interface design of a character creation menu will very often play a big part in what influences my first impression of a game. When I go to create a character and I'm met with a screen that has tiny, skinny font over tons of sliders, a very bland and uninspired color scheme, or worse, a design that doesn't even fit with the type of game that you're playing, I feel immediately put off. To give you some examples of UI and character creators that lost me before I was even halfway done with creating my character, let's start with Elden Ring. And I'm gonna say first of all that Elden Ring is a great game. It has a really interesting world and story, a very special atmosphere, and I enjoy playing it. But the character creation UI is so bland that I actually cannot wait to get out of this menu and get into the game ASAP, which I think is really bad. In my opinion, a character creation menu should be one where players want to spend more of their time. Like, historically, it's been this meme that people spend so much time creating their character before they even get into a game. That just couldn't be me with Elden Ring. And I think that a lot of people seem to actually like that one, but I cannot get past a few things with it. It's especially a shame considering that the results that you can achieve with the character creator in Elden Ring are stunning. I've seen people create some really special looking characters there, so that really isn't the issue. Maybe this is just a me thing. There's probably people watching this thinking that I'm on one for not liking it, but here are the issues. It's minimalistic to the point that it hardly shows any of the personality or vibe of Elden Ring. Like, I look at it and I feel like I have absolutely no idea what to expect. With this amount of text and sliders, it feels more like filling out a form for the government than creating my epic hero for a fantasy RPG. It's true that Souls-like games have always had a more minimalistic approach to UI, not just in character creation, but in general, but then I look back to something like Dark Souls 1, and the character creation here just looks and feels so much more immersive. When you get into Dark Souls 1 character creation, it's still quite simple, but it feels like you're really diving into a proper dark fantasy world with the black leather background and the golden frame that borders your sliders. The sliders themselves match the frame. They seem to have a sort of a texture to them. And then that parchment style menu that lists all the classes and hair colors and other things. It's creative. It's a really good first look into the game that you're about to play because I think it really sets the mood for Dark Souls. Character creation shouldn't feel like you're adjusting your brightness in your settings. It should instead be the thing that starts the process of getting you immersed in the game. A game that we talk about quite a lot on this channel is Skyrim. I actually did a video on the art of game UI where we covered Skyrim and how I personally dislike their minimalistic UI. I feel like it does no justice to the game. It's just too plain and it lacks any of the flavor that we've seen in terms of UI in the previous games. The topic of this video kind of overlaps that, and again, looking at the Skyrim character creation, it's there, it's fine, it's to the point, doesn't have an overwhelming amount of options, but I feel like maybe I would spend more time even in the Morrowind character creator, which was super limited, than the Skyrim one, just because it literally feels like adjusting my screen settings in the options menu. It's not a terrible character creator in general. Sure, like it lacks options in a lot of places, but it's just the way in which it's designed. I feel a bit bored of it when I've spent some time with the finer details, and then I sort of just start to rush through things at one point just to get it over with. Oblivion, on the other hand, has a much more appealing UI design in the character creator. This whole parchment style menu is something that they hold to throughout the game in the various character and skill menus, pop-ups, loading screens, etc. They stay true to this style in setting menus also, but it's just so much more interesting to look at. Right off the bat, you're delving into this high fantasy medieval world. The sound effects are really satisfying. And it's the kind of character creator that really inspires people to stay a while longer and test the limits of the system, which do allow them to come up with some absolute masterpieces. A bit abstract maybe, but masterpieces nonetheless. It's a kind of a sport to actually try and make an attractive character in Oblivion, or at least one that doesn't fully resemble a potato. And I feel like in part, people will take their time with this because the character creation system is just pleasant and enjoyable to go through. But that's on minimalism versus styled UI. Again, I've said this quite a lot before, I'm just not a fan of minimalistic UI, especially in fantasy RPGs. Whatever way my brain works, this will always be so much more appealing to me than this. But sometimes the issue isn't even that the character creation menu is bland or boring, but it's just that it doesn't feel like it belongs in the game that you're playing. The Avowed character creation menu is a perfect example of that for me. Something about the color scheme and just the general look of the elements that make up this menu feel kind of too futuristic and sci-fi to me. Like, they're more suited for maybe a Mass Effect game as opposed to a fantasy RPG. It's the specific blue color that kind of resembles those futuristic screens on spaceship vibes. I really hope someone's getting what I'm talking about here. It's just not setting the right vibe for the sort of game that you're about to play. That, and I'm about to say something that's gonna get me in trouble. Every single character that you can create with the Avowed character creator just looks like someone who's about to start an argument that they can't finish on Reddit. It's just not my vibe, I'm sorry. And also the godlike features are annoying. I really dislike that. But I digress, again, very personal opinion. But of course, the main point here is that UI that doesn't fit the world of the game that you're playing is a big pet peeve of mine. And I'm sure that there's tons more examples of that besides Avowed, so if you can think of any, do let me know in the comments. And now we get to the really controversial part of this video. So I'm gonna say this, I have the talking stick right now, I talk, you listen. This is a safe space, a judgment-free zone. But I think that sometimes too many options in a character creation system ruin the process of creating your character. Infinite sliders for every part of your face and body are not necessary in every game. There, I said it. Now, this isn't to say that there isn't room for this kind of really in-depth character customization in any game. Sure there is. I appreciate some of the classics that have it, like Oblivion, even though sometimes it's really frustrating with how moving one slider affects others with it, and sometimes you can go so deep that there is no way back to normality from what you've created. Look at the entire head change when you alter the chin. Oh god. But it does have that meme quality to it. It's enjoyable in the way that it's presented, like I said already, the UI is a big bonus, and really it's a staple of Oblivion. So that's an example of an instance where I think it's acceptable and I don't feel fatigued after playing around with it. Elden Ring kinda gets a pass for the same, sort of, but I do have a lot of gripes with the UI. I just think that infinite head shape or forehead width sliders like what you have in Dragon Age the Veilguard can be really tiresome. And you know, maybe if you're somebody that hasn't played a lot of games before this and then you get to play this game and it has all these sliders and and options, you might actually be a lot more excited for it than I am, and if so, good for you. Everyone's gonna enjoy what they enjoy. Because I've played so many different games with all of these different approaches to character creation, I just kind of know for myself what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. I know exactly what I want at this stage from a character creator in the context of the game that I'm playing. For example, in a game like The Sims, I love sliders. I love all of the really small, detailed options like inner eye corner shapes and all sorts of tiny details that you would never really think of. But in a game like The Sims, I feel like it just makes so much more sense to have that level of depth because you're dealing with a game based on creating a family, that family can have a continuation, kids are born, genes are passed down, and you get to observe how those specific changes that you made to your initial character are then passed down to their kids and then their kids after them. There's a gameplay aspect here that totally justifies more sliders and very in-depth customization options. But then back to something like the Veilguard. On top of all of the face modifications, you have butt and bulge sliders. I'm not kidding. Like, just for me personally, it's all a bit tedious. I don't think that all of that, in my personal humble opinion, is necessary. Just having a long list of all of these options takes away from the experience of creating your character. Sometimes I enjoy it when a game decides to take the wheel a little bit in terms of character creation and, you know, give you some preset faces, a good variety of skin, hair color, and miscellaneous options like tattoos or piercings, and just leave it at that. The reason that I like that is because there are times when I enjoy playing a game with a character that fits the developer's general and original vision for the game that I'm playing. Like, sure, I cannot alter the width of the bridge of my nose, but I'm working with what the artists behind the game saw for this world, and I enjoy getting that specific experience. When options are reasonably limited, I actually have more fun creating a character that best resonates with what I'm looking for than when I'm thrown into a world with infinite sliders and no direction. Like, sure, you could just tell me to use the randomize option and move on, but that's no fun. Like, I want to go through the process of creating my character. I just want the process to be more fun. When it's a bit too long-winded and overstimulating, like I've said, I just lose interest. You guys probably know where this is going already, but one of my favorite character creation systems of all time is from World of Warcraft, from Classic up to, I think, Cataclysm. There are so many things that are just perfect about this exact version of character creation. First of all, and we've covered this already, the UI. It is so beautiful that it's addictive. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Maybe you've heard of the term alt-aholic before, which is basically a person that creates infinite alts on WoW, and maybe they don't even ever finish leveling them. I don't necessarily think that they're creating them because they're addicted to starting from level 1 all the time. I actually think it's because people really enjoy creating characters on WoW. As soon as you go into the character creation menu, you can really get a feel for the scale of the world. On the left-hand side, you have a list of races that is split into the Alliance and Horde, and instead of listing each race by name, it is done with beautiful, stylized icons that represent each race, and those icons also change depending on your chosen gender. This immediately makes you feel like every single choice is special and really means something in this world. Below that, you have classes, which are also represented by the notable class icons. They are brightly colored and perfectly convey what each class is supposed to be. Again, making every choice feel special and important. That bright and saturated color scheme that is so authentically Warcraft really draws you in. You're going to click on every single option to see what it is. You need to see it. It's calling you. Finally, you do have all of the different ways in which you can fine-tune your chosen character. Every single race has a special background in the character creator, which shows you where they are from. Again, it's what I mentioned about the scale of the world. Instead of putting them all in one room with a chair or something, you have their homeland as their backdrop. A couple of races actually share backdrops because they come from the same place, which is also interesting to see. There are enough dynamic functions in this character creator that actually take attention away from the fact that at the end of the day, your options for customization are a bit limited. And yet, by the time you're done creating your character, you will feel satisfied in that you came out with a creation that speaks to you. I think that this is a potential benchmark for what a good character creator is, one that isn't extremely limited in terms of options, but when you actually have created the character, you will come out of that menu thinking, that was great. I would really enjoy if there was more of that. I frequently go back to the WoW character creator. I'm always excited when I decide to delve back into the world for the next 3 to 4 business months, and I have a lot of fun imagining how this character will look in the gear that I'm gonna get for their class, and yeah, it's great. I just really enjoy it. And I already know that a lot of you in the comments will tell me that I enjoy it so much because nostalgia. Yeah, it's partially true, but it doesn't mean that it's not an objectively very good character creation system. And I know that this specifically is what works for me because I found that the character creation system in Baldur's Gate 3 is actually quite similar to World of Warcraft. So I recently got Baldur's Gate 3, by the way. I know I'm super late to the party, but I've been meaning to play it for a while, and let me know if you guys want content on the game in the future. I think there's actually a lot to talk about there. But so far, I've only really seen the character creator menu in the game, and honestly, I really love it. So maybe you don't have the changing backgrounds like WoW did, but you do have some bright, colorful icons. The overall design is very polished, and it has a look that sets the mood for the kind of game that Baldur's Gate 3 is. It feels expensive, very high fantasy, very pleasant to look at, but a really big complaint that a lot of people have about this character creator to this day is no sliders. You cannot adjust different facial features, make eyes smaller or bigger, change the mouth shape, none of that. You're given a somewhat limited selection of faces for each of the races, and you kind of work off of them with the ability to change eye color, hairstyle and color, and a couple of other things with your given face not changing. Honestly, at first I was a little surprised with how few faces you actually get to work with, but once you kind of choose what you want and you get the right hair to go with it, I really liked what I ended up having after playing around with it for a while. I thought that the characters came out so beautiful, far beyond what a lot of character creators do in modern RPGs. The hair options are actually a lot more varied than I expected, and most importantly, you get some really cool long hair options, which isn't that common for RPGs across the board for various reasons, including technical limitations and whatnot. But there is a lot to choose from, and it's quite flexible in terms of color, not just having one solid color, but allowing for highlights also, which is nice. A common complaint about the faces in Baldur's Gate 3 is that they're very Chad-like, which I can see that, sure. But honestly, I feel like the hair in this game does a lot to change the whole look, and it's so easy to create a really great looking character. It has just enough variety for me to truly make it feel like the characters are my own. I don't think everyone feels that way. Like, some people are really into being able to make a character look exactly like themselves in a game. I was never really about that myself. If Chad faces are the vision for Baldur's Gate, hey, I like what I can come up with and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm okay to experience the game in this way. It's nice to create a character and not feel so burdened by infinite sliders that may or may not do what you want. And also, a side note, I think that Baldur's Gate 3 has the most diplomatic approach to the body type issue. So this is always kind of a controversial topic where body type will replace male and female in character creation. But in Baldur's Gate 3, what they've done is they added 4 body types for most races. You have a woman and a man of an average skinny kind of build, and then you'll have a taller, more muscular build for both male and female characters. They then allow you to choose the character's identity, regardless of chosen body type, and then you can be male, female, or non-binary if that is what you choose. I feel like this is much more accurate to what body type actually means in terms of the physical build of the character, and it actually has nothing to do with gender. And then it gets to the identity question that I think is most fair and open to everyone. It also allows you to choose your voice that you think would best fit with your character, so I actually think it is more than enough customization in that particular sense. And yes, I do think that games should continue to give players the option to literally just choose male or female, and then if in that particular game they want to also offer the option to be neither, then just have that as a separate option. The Baldur's Gate 3 approach is absolutely the way here. But yeah, I love the character creator in this game, and I'm not the only one. I read somewhere that collectively players have already spent over 8,000 years or 70 million hours just in that menu alone, and I think that this really speaks to the quality of the experience that you have while creating your character. So despite all of the complaints about it being limited and not having sliders, It's great, people are playing, people are enjoying it, and I think that's what matters most at the end of the day. In general, when it comes to character creation, I think that everybody's gonna have a different opinion here because this is as personal and unique to an individual as it gets. Some of you might absolutely love weird and quirky body sliders. I personally am not a fan, I don't really see it as that important. Some people really love being able to create themselves in a game. Me personally, not a big deal. I actually like playing fantasy games and being someone other than myself while I'm playing them. In making this video, I guess that my main goal is just to see how many others are there out there like me. People who maybe find that sometimes less is more and enjoy customization that perhaps may be a lot more limited but more true to the overall original artistic vision that the game designers had for their game. I would love to hear in the comments about your favorite and least favorite character creator systems. What makes you feel a bit fatigued when creating your character? What do you think is a good approach to it, depending on the game? And yeah, that about covers it for my little rant on character creation fatigue. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. As always, huge shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you all in the next video. Be seeing you. Bye.